Hey, hello everyone. I have some projects for you today that will feature the next in color. I know all of you already know me, but I am Christina Taylor. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from North Canton, Ohio. Excuse me. And today I'm going to share with you two new projects featuring the next color of the In Color Club. So you will have the supplies necessary for you to make these projects in your Strawberry Slush kit and our color bundle. And anything that would not come in your packet that you can cut yourself, I will have provided for you in your kit so you can complete the projects. Or like for these, the punch outs are done because I didn't know if you would have the punch that we're using. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is just a peek at the projects we're going to do today, and we're featuring the strawberry slush. So we'll go ahead and start with this one first. And on it, I've done some die cutting. This layer with the sentiment on there is popped up with some dimensionals. And then everything else is then just flush to the card, except that area is popped up. So, okay. So we're of course using Strawberry Slush, which is this month's color, focus color. And then I've added Timid Tiger. And we're using the Strawberry Slush ribbon, which you'll have 2 yards of that in your bundle. And we're using the Timid Tiger Stampin' Right marker as well as the Strawberry Slush Stampin' Right marker, showing you just a technique you can do with your markers. We're using the In Color Flat Pearls, which we used last month as well. Let me pull these out because you can't see the Strawberry Slush. So we're going to use this color here. But you could use the Timid Tiger on here because the colors are they're complementary, so you could use either one. And then the stamp sets that we're using, did I stamp that in there? Oh, I must have added this and I didn't put the time to celebrate in there. We'll do that one. Okay. So the stamp sets I'm using is the Beautiful Butterflies, and I've grabbed the Time to Celebrate out of there from this stamp set. And let me put this out of the way. And then we're using Layered Thoughts, which I've grabbed the Happy Birthday out of this one. Which this one is not, well, I'll come back to this one because it's a new set in the catalog. So it's a nice combination. You can do like love you, thank you, thinking of you, happy birthday to you. So you can kind of change it up based on the sentiment that you made. And then I grabbed this stamp set. So this one is actually called Brush Strokes. It is a retired stamp set. But Stampin' Up! Came out with a new watercolor striped stamp set that is called Painted Stripes. So the stripes are a little thicker than this, a little different. I believe they go like horizontal across the card, like and where these stamps are going vertical. You know what I want to say. These lines are going vertical on the main stamp. The one that's new is they are going horizontal across, but it's like brushed painted stripes, pretty much what it says. So I pulled this stamp out. I don't have the painted stripes one, but I feel like you can accomplish it with either. So you can't get this one any longer, but you could get the painted stripes and accomplish the same technique. So you'll find that by just searching painted stripes on my website in my online store. So I've pulled this one out. This is what we're going to use today. And then I've also grabbed the textured notes dies, and I use, let me grab these out. So I have used the largest one, and then I used this one, so it would be the 1, 2, 3, the fourth from the smallest, or it would be the fourth one in as far as from the largest down. Okay, so I've got those two there. These dies have great texture around them in the rectangles, and they go with the textured notes stamp set. which is, let me show you, I can pull it out here so you can, I think I've shown you it before, but this is the textured notes stamp set. We're just not using that particular one today, but we're using the dies. So, okay. And I think that's it. You will notice on your supplies, I have die cut out. So you've got like a frame like this, and I've die cut this out. So I've got the extras in here, and I'll probably use them on another project that we're doing with the in color, just as a creative way to show you how to use your pieces and parts and all the things. So, okay. All right, so your supplies, let me share with you what you've got in front of you. So you've got your envelope, of course. Then you've got a piece of strawberry slush cardstock that's 5.5 by 8.5. You would have, I started out with a piece of strawberry slush that is 2.5 across and then 4, so 4 by 2.5. I have die cut the center out because we're going to layer over top of it. And you know, I'm just kind of crazy about like doing that. It's kind of like a little obsession that I have. I'm just like, oh, let me see what I can take out of here. And all of you ladies know that anyway. Anyway, it helps distribute, gets a little weight off your card so it doesn't interfere with your postage. Then I've got a white die cut piece. And again, this is the 4th smallest or the 4th, yeah. Either go if you're going from the outside in, it's basically the middle die. So I went ahead and die cut that out of some basic white cardstock. So put this aside. And then you've got a layer for the inside, which is 3 3/4 by 5. And then I have a layer that's 4 1/4 by 5.5. And this is what I'm going to do my stamping on to die cut out my larger layer for the front of the card. You will need on your ribbon, you'll need to cut a 5.5-inch piece. So let me go ahead and do that. So and she'll just cut from your supplies, just like so I went ahead and gave you this piece because I was doing the die cutting out of it, but you'll need to cut this piece of strawberry slush for yourself out of your supplies. And then take your ribbon and you're gonna cut, right, 5.5. Okay. And then you need a 4-inch piece one. This is going to tell this, we're going to tie like a little faux knot. So a 5.5-inch one and a 4-inch one. And then of course you're going to need your gems when we get to that. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. And I'm going to come in with my, grab it here. My Simply Scored tool. And I'm going to take that 8.5-inch piece, put it at the top, and I'm going to score it a 4 1/4. We'll set that aside because I'm going to need that for the next project. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fold that in half. Flatten my fold with my bone folder. And we're going to go ahead and do a little stamping. Grab a piece of paper here for stamping that. All right, so what we're going to do first is ink our stamp head. And we're going to use the strawberry slush first. I need to get my water. Okay, sorry about that. Just got back from vacation and it feels like we brought the weather that we were having at the beach with us because it is so hot outside. Only here you don't have the beach to go kind of run and cool off in. It's just Ohio hot summer. Okay, so I inked this with the strawberry slush. I'm gonna stamp this down. I'm just giving that some firm pressure. Okay, that's pretty good. Sometimes I usually use my Stamparatus on these large background stamps, but the way I'm doing this, I need to keep it on the block so I can have a little more control over where I'm going to put it next with the timid tiger. Okay, so I've cleaned that off. And now I'm going to go with the timid tiger. And this will tone down a little bit. Everything is always stamped a little brighter than when it dries, it tones down just a little bit. That's because it's super dark. Okay, so I've got the timid tiger. So here's what we're going to be like. We're just going to play around with it. So I want to get this striping. I want to get the timid tiger striping where the white striping is at. So we're going to see how good I'm going to be able to do this. And excuse my head if it's coming in the camera shot, but I kind of need to see a little bit over what I'm doing. We're going to see how close I can get to this. Okay. Not too bad. There's a little more white in there, but you kind of get you get the point of what I'm doing with this. Okay, oops. I probably should have gone up just a smidge more, but it's all right. All right, let me get this cleaned off. So I was really excited to see that painted stripes background stamp come out because it's super cool like this one is. But when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, I have one really similar to that. So you might even have this in your collection too already. So I just went ahead and pulled this one out. Okay, so I've stamped my striping and I've got that going, say, rotating the colors. You see a little bit more white there. Then I'm going to take my large rectangle, textured rectangle die and die cut that. And when I do, through the magic of TV, I'm going to get this. So we'll set this one aside and I'll do this one later. But this will give us our piece that we need. It's already die cut, so you've got some fun stitching around. Let's see. Can you see that in the camera? Yeah, there you go. You can see the stitching around there. Okay. Next, we're going to do stamp our sentiment. And here is where the markers come in. So I'm going to take, I was like, sorry, I'm like really not thinking here. I'm going to take my marker and swish it across. And I'm using the brush tip. You can do this with any of your markers. Using that. So I've got my birthday done in the strawberry slush. And then I'm going to come in with the happy. And we're going to do that in the timid tiger. And just see I'm taking the brush tip and coming across. Okay. And then you kind of have to breathe on it. Kind of hop on it there to re-moisten that ink. And then stamp it down. And I didn't put my mat on there, so let's hope that this is going to be okay because I normally would put that little foam mat there. Pretty good. I think if I would have had my mat, it would have been a little bolder like when I did this one. So it's a little lighter than this one, but I forgot to put that mat there. So that's user error on my part. So when you have your markers, your stamp and write markers, if you have a stamp like that and you want to get two different colors, you can marker anything and then stamp it at once and get that kind of design. Now I want to there's part of me that really wants to just extend that a little bit. Let me grab. I'm going to try something. I'm going to bring in a blender. This could either go terribly wrong or it'll be like, that was good. We're going to find out. So I'm going to squeeze the ink pad a little bit there. So I squeezed my ink pad to get a little bit of ink on the lid. And you see where like my H, I'm missing a little bit of it there. And I'm going to see if I can, create it without making it look like a marker. Oh yeah, that worked. That worked. Okay. Okay. Oh, I'm happy with that. Extended the H. Perfect. Okay, so if you're doing your markering and one of the letters doesn't come out as clear as you would like, just grab a blender pen. And that worked perfectly. Okay, great. Well, that was a happy accident there. Let's see. Do I need to do? I'm gonna do my inside. Okay, so happy birthday. We're gonna do a time to celebrate, and we'll do that in the put that right over here. Okay. Grab my little layer here. I think I've got all the pieces and parts I need. I'm not really sure what to do with my envelope. Um, Put some striping on it, I suppose. Let's try that. I don't know. I really didn't do anything with the envelope, so I don't really need to ink up the whole thing because it's just a half of a little flap there. We're gonna give this a try. We're gonna see. This will either like the blender pen. It will either go terribly wrong or really great. Okay. Trying to see where I'm at. Okay, we're gonna see how this is going to turn out. This is such a creative adventure we're on today. Okay, not bad. Not bad for the most part. I'm not gonna get that lined up. I'm certain of that. Over here. I don't think I can do that. Um, let's try to go back in with the blender pen again. Let's see if this works again. See. Yeah, you're gonna be able to tell this one is not quite. This one's not quite. Maybe I'll put a little more color there. I mean, it's good enough. It kind of continues it, but it's not quite. Didn't quite work out as well as the sentiment one. Just cleaning off my blender pen. Okay. All right, I think I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead on that because, you know, we'll just get a little striping on there. That'll be a little bit of color. Grab this little guy. Okay. All right, so we've got all of our coloring done, all of our stamping and all that goodness. So let's shut this before I put something in it, like I just did my finger. Okay. All right, now we're ready to layer and assemble our card. So let's get this little guy. So we're gonna do a faux knot with this ribbon. So let me share with you how I did this. This is a great way to do your ribbon. I like doing this a lot. I've done it on other videos before because if your supplies are limited and you don't have as much to be able to tie around the whole thing, this is a great way to give you that illusion of a fully wrapped piece, but uses less ribbon for your project. So I'm just going to tuck that end around and put some Scotch tape down there and do the same on the other side. You can use your snail adhesive, your Stampin' Seal, your whatever adhesive you choose. I just like to use Scotch tape when I'm doing this particular ribbon technique. And then I'm going to take the smaller one and just tie that in a simple one tie, not necessarily a knot. It'll knot because this ribbon holds really nicely. And off with my scissors. Okay. All right, so there we've got like a little faux knot there. Then we're going to come in with our greeting piece and some liquid glue. And for this one, I'm actually going to go around the perimeter. Let me put this up here, the perimeter of my die cut, or my smaller strawberry slush piece, which this strawberry slush piece, if you were like just cutting it out, I think I told you it was going to be a 4 by 2.5. I just happened to cut out the center too. So I'm going to take my stamped die cut, put that over top, okay? And then we're going to find some dimensionals here, which all we've got right in front of me is the mini, so we will use that. Actually, I'll use the bigger pieces on the perimeter. Okay. So we're gonna put that in all 4 corners. One there. Thanks. And one there. Alrighty. So pieces off. Yeah, so we were in Florida. We had a wonderful time down there at the beach. We actually went to Nokomis Beach and we went to Venice Beach. And then we went to Sanibel Island Beach. And by far, Sanibel Island had the best shells. My husband and I were kind of obsessed with that. We brought back 2-gallon bagfuls of shells, like the most beautiful shells. And he's going to put them on a table we have a concrete, what do I say? It's like a concrete top. It's out by our patio. And he's going to put all the shells on there and then epoxy over it. So they're like contained within like the clear epoxy. I think it's going to look really cool. But that was something fun that we enjoyed doing. Okay. Besides the fabulous weather that we had and then the amazing things we had to eat. That's always fantastic. So because I've got the ribbon and stuff on here, I'm going to go ahead and just put my adhesive on my card front, and then set this down. And I'm looking at that. I might have put those dimensionals on just a little cattywampus there. I think this is like a little off. Let's see if I can bring that up. There we go. Okay. All right. So anyway, we did have a good time away. Sadly, Roger's brother had passed away very suddenly and unexpectedly right before we were to leave. It's really sad. So that was rather upsetting, and we were glad to be able to get away though. We needed some time to fill our tanks up, so to speak. It's been a little bit chaotic here. Okay, so I've got my card all together. I'm going to put some, not dimensions, I'm going to add some little embellishments. And we're going to use one of each size. So we're going to use that strawberry slush there. And I'm going to put the little baby one kind of right next to that. And we'll come in with a middle one, the middle size one, and put that right there. This card is so cute. Like I said, you could even have this stamp in your collection. But I just thought, I was like, oh, this is so great. I'm going to use that stamp. I hung on to it and I really liked it. And I like the watercolor effect that it gives. It's not so much like perfection on the striping that's there. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, so here is our first project. There we go. And this is a great way to use your markers. So something different you can do with your markers with the marking of the stamps to get the two different colors at one time when you stamp it. All right, let me get this cleaned up. And I'm gonna stop the video and I'll get the other supplies for the next project. Hey, I am back with our next project. So this next one, we're going to be focusing on doing, we're going to use the Simply Score to create some texture at the top of this card. So you can kind of see there the texture. And then you've just got some really simple punch outs using the In Color Designer Series paper, which you will have in your kit. And we're using the 1.5-inch circle punch right there. So you got that. And then we're using some of the Essentials Baker's twine in the pack from here. And doing some stamping with all the 3 colors, including the Timid Tiger, but the Darling Duckling as well, which you should already have. Okay, and the stamp set that I've selected is Grateful Blessings. This is one of my favorite stamp sets, which you probably know if you've come to classes or I've been using it a lot lately, but I selected that I'm grateful for you and you're such a blessing. Just letting somebody know how much they mean to you, whether they've done something for you or they're just amazing themselves. So, and you just wanted to thank them. All right, and we're also using the Strawberry Slush marker, showing you a technique how you can use your markers with. And then I've got a piercing tool, which we're going to be using with the marker, along with our In Color Designer Series paper. All right, so the supplies that you have in front of you, you're going to have your white envelope. You've got that. You've got, this is thick basic white, and it is 5.5 by 8.5. It's scored at 4 1/4 for you. You've also got another piece of basic white, and this is thick, 4 by 5 1/4. And then you've got 3 punch out circles. You can use whatever side you want to. This one kind of has more like a splatter technique. This one has a floral, which is what I've chosen. And then you need a piece of 20 inches of the twine. So we're going to use the white. In this, you get the crumb cake, gray granite, like a beige, and then the black. And then, of course, the white. And I tend to use the white most of all. On this card, I've got the circles popped up with some dimensionals. Everything else is flush to the card. So let me grab my ruler. And we need to measure 20 inches of twine. So that's 12. And we need another 8. Okay. All right, so we're going to do this first. So this can just kind of set aside and work on other things. So if you want to I'll put a little piece of tape just to kind of show you for ease and purposes of that. So you can take, this is a way if you have light color twine and you want to add some color to it, like I did for this project. I've got it striped with the Strawberry Slush. So I've taken my twine and I'm going to wrap it around the piercing tool. I'll taking care to hold on to it. Okay. And I'll just put another piece of tape there. When I was doing it, I just went ahead and just held on to it, but I'm for demonstration purposes. So what I've done is just taken my piercing tool and tape that 20-inch piece of twine to the tool. Then I'm going to take my marker, which we used on our last project, and I'm going to stripe my ribbon. And I'm going to do that by running my brush tip down the piercing tool and just kind of turning it. Now, obviously we have all kinds of twine, so you wouldn't have to do this, but I was like, I didn't have any Strawberry Slush twine, and I was like, I'd like a little color on here. I mean, we could have done white on white there, but I'm like, why not just do a little bit different technique with the markers to show you that you can create your own two-tone ribbon. Okay, so I've got some striping going down here. Okay, so I'm done with that. Take my marker, put the cap on, then I'm going to take my tape here and let's see if we can get this off. There we go. Pull that off. Okay. Now, set this aside. Okay. So then if you can see in the camera, so I've got my ribbon that's now striped. Okay. So it just adds a little color to the project. So we're going to use that, set that aside, and it'll dry. You can do that with any of your markers, with any twine. You could probably even do 2 colors on there if you wanted to. We're going to take our white card base and fold that in half. The bone folder to flatten it down. Okay. Then we're going to come in with our basic white layer. And I'm going to bring my Simply Score tool back in. And what I'm going to show you how to do is to create those really cool textured lines. Okay. So you've got some embossed lines there. And where's my stylus tool? There it is. Okay. So I'm going to bring this in, put the shorter end at the top, so the 4 inches to the top. And I'm going to start right in the corner at that little like 1/8 inch mark. I'm just going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I've made 4 lines just at each 1/8 inch mark. And then what did I drop down to? I want to make sure I give a good spacing. So I got 2, 1 3/4. Okay. So I want 1 3/4 from this 1/2 inch mark. So it would be 1 would go to the 1 1/2 and then 3/4. So I need to go 2 1/4. And I'm going to go just like I did on the top there at the 2 1/4. And then I'm going to go, the next one is another 1/8 and the next one, another 1/8 and the following one. So I've got 4 lines. So what this has created is our textured lines. Very, very simple, and makes a big impact on a project just using that scoring tool. Okay, now I'm ready to do some stamping. So I'm going to bring my strawberry slush in because that's our focus color this month. And use the I'm grateful for you. And we're going to go ahead and stamp that down. Nice, okay. And then we've got the inside of our card. And let's do the You're Such a Blessing. And I need to grab my mat because I've been taking a couple chances and so far it's worked out. But I don't want to mess it up. So You're Such a Blessing. I'm going to do that on the inside of the card. So nicely. Okay. And then okay, I'm done with this. Take this. We're going to do the Darling Duckling and the Timid Tiger. We're going to add some elements to bring in all of our colors on our project. So I'm going to do a Darling Duckling. Let's do our envelope while we're at it so they match. Okay. So we've got the Darling Duckling. Then we'll come back in with the Timid Tiger. Do that. And this one. Okay. Right. And put that over here so it's out of the way. All right. We've done all of our stamping. So we're ready to go ahead and layer. And I'm going to go ahead and, oh, I got to get my twine. Gotta get the twine around here. So we're gonna take our twine, come around the back side, and you're just gonna tie that in a bow. So there should be enough twine here that you can tie that right in a bow, and then you can kind of move it and position it where you want it. I'm just gonna get this tied and then I'll come around and fix it. So I want to bring my bow a little this way. So I'm just going to pull on my cardstock and shift that down. And fix my little bow here. And go ahead and trim my end. Okay. So I've got my bow on. I want to drop that down a little bit so don't take away from my score lines that I've highlighted there. And then we're going to do some dimensionals. Grab them. Where did I put that sheet out? There they are. Okay. So I'm going to use the floral side. So I'm going to bring the splatter and like I said, I've got the minis on here. So we're going to use some of these side pieces as well. Boy, isn't our weather so hot? Oh my goodness, summer is here, that's for sure. It is warm today. My dad is, my parents are farmers and my dad is needing to bale hay, and it's so hot, and he just shouldn't be out there in that heat, and I don't know. He's kind of stubborn like that. He won't take help from anybody. So, it's just sometimes difficult, but it's too hot for him to be out there. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my strawberry slush circle on and then put that in the center, and then I'll find placement for both of these, just kind of along each side. Let's see. But yeah, you definitely want to make sure you're staying hydrated out there in that weather today, for sure. Let's see. Do I want to put, yeah, we're going to use some tape here. Okay, just use my Stampin' Seal and go ahead and put that on the card front. And it's just, that texture is going to help that layer pop a little bit, but you're getting that great tone on tone. So it does create a layer of dimension there. And there we go. We've got our second project. So let me bring back, where's my other one at? Okay. Got our ink pads that we were using. Oh, and I had already punched this out, so I didn't show you this, but this is just our 1.5 inch circle punch. I didn't show myself using it, but that's what I did the punch outs out that were in your kit too. All right, so we've got this project, which I had another one here, obviously. And then this was my first attempt. It was a little stronger because I used my mat and I did not use it here, so it was a little lighter, but I think they both turned out really nicely. Okay. So again, so today's projects are featuring the Strawberry Slush product bundle, which will have all these products in there. What you don't have in your kit, you will have, I would have put in the card kits for you to be able to create these 2 cards. And the next color I think that's coming is the Timid Tiger, I think, but it might be the Secret Safe. Oh, look, I'll surprise you. That'll be the surprise. So that's for July. July's color, of course, color bundle will be different. And if you ordered the blends, if you have the blends option, those will, of course, be in your packet as well. So I hope these projects gave you some creative inspiration on using your new in color bundles, and that you're really having fun creating with them. And I appreciate that you are a part of the In Color Club. And I look forward to sharing next month's projects with you. So yeah. All right, ladies. Well, I'm going to say goodbye for today, and I will see you again soon, and we'll create together again. All right. Bye-bye now.